Good afternoon, viewers. Thank you for joining us on today on The Insight. The Insight, as you know, is a program where we explore the heartbeat of issues shaping our nation. We explain these issues by bringing expert opinions, analysts, policymakers, men of integrity, and women who have lived this experience, who are part of shaping these issues. And the most important aspect of it is you, our viewers, your opinion as well. Joining us on the show today is an eminent guest, not just a man, but one who has dedicated his life, should I say, almost or over 40 years of his life in the service of God and humanity. I'm speaking about His Grace, Most Reverend Barrister Christopher Ede, the Methodist Archbishop of Enugu Archdiocese. His Grace.
Thank you
It's
very
good to
much.
have you.
Thank you very much.
With him on the show today is another eminent man of God in the vineyard, one who is passionate and dedicated also. I'm talking about the Right Reverend Dr. C.C. Ekebisi, the Bishop of Okunano, and he is the chairman of the planning committee of the 50th anniversary of the Archdiocese of Enugu. My Lord.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you.
It's good to have you on the program. All right. It's Grace. Let's get right into it. Today, we are honored to have your presence.
Thank you.
But before I talk to that, I want to talk about hardship. The country, the citizens, everybody is complaining about hardship. The government seems overwhelmed with efforts to improve the situation. Is Grace. What role or how do you think the church should intervene in this?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to Anike TV. You are doing a great job. We've been watching you and watching this television, and you've been bringing very important topics for discussions, especially in this program, The Insight. The problem of hardship in Nigeria is one that I will call self-inflicted. I think that the way this country is blessed, we have no reason to be passing through what we are passing through today. But we have self-inflicted ourselves, and everybody is suffering from that affliction. The bottom line, the real cause of our hardship is not because God has not blessed us with all that is needed for living and for good life. Has blessed us with all sorts of mineral resources. Nigeria has more deposits of fuel than Saudi Arabia. Nigeria has more deposits of gas, the third highest endowed nation in the world with gas. Nigeria has 65% of the arable land of this continent, and we have no reason actually to be passing through the difficulty we're passing through. It's all about leadership. Like my ex-moro would say, leadership is everything. It is what determines the rise or the fall of a people. Nigeria, from time, has not been able to get the issue of leadership right. And unless we tackle that, we'll never get it right. When people begin to talk about the church and the issue of tackling hardship, honestly speaking, without wanting to pull out the church from her responsibilities, I like to say that we should begin from the beginning, from where this trouble really started. Because the church also is passing through difficulties and hardship, occasioned by the fact that in the nation where we are operating, the church is the people. And when the people are passing through hardship, the church also is passing through hardship. I tell you, the church today is passing through hardship. Those of us who are at the level of administration of the church. Finding it difficult these days even to maintain the stipends. You know what is called stipend, not salary. We don't pay pastors salary. We pay them stipends because just a living wage to enable them thrive. But we're finding it difficult now to even feed them, to pay that stipend. And it's all because of the hardship of the nation. It's somebody, those who are blessed pay tithe, those who are blessed pay give offering, those who are blessed come for thanksgiving. When people are passing through difficulties like we have in the country today, it reduces. And so being able to even tackle the small issues of giving a stipend to a pastor who ordinarily should be fed by the church because, I mean, a man is worthy of his wage.
Sure.
Well, we're passing through that kind of difficulty now, being able to pay our wages. So you now understand that even the church that they are looking up to are finding things extremely difficult as we speak.
Okay.
That be as it may, I want to say that the church see their responsibility not just as a spiritual responsibility, where people are taught about heaven and the life hereafter, or where people are taught to live out the faith in the now. Because the Bible we preach is not just for the future. The Bible we preach is also that the scriptures have answers to current issues. Business has answers to family life, has answers to relationships, has answers to virtually everything you ask about. And so the faith is the life we live on a daily basis. So the church is contributing to alleviating hardship by teaching the people how to live it right. Secondly, the church, we believe so much that a lazy man, a Christian should not be a lazy man. And unfortunately, just see our country. Now it is raining. See the vegetation. Can you believe me that if you throw away the seed of a fruit, just throw it away into the bush and go your way. Come tomorrow, you see it sprouting. Leave it there. Don't go there again. Don't even try to water it. Tomorrow you see a mango tree. Next thing you have mango to eat. Why is it that we have such beautiful landscape? We are so much blessed, and yet we are hungry. Why? When almost everywhere around us, you can farm. You can if we know how to work hard. Every mother, every wife should have a little garden to give small vegetables to eat. But oh no, everybody wants to show their manicures and pedicures, and then go to the market to buy little things. Even now that people have changed over to the things that they think are now giving, like the fruits and the vegetables, go and price it. And those things are things that we can get. We teach these things in church that people should get back to work. Set thou a man that is diligent in his works. This man is going to sit with kings, princes, and princesses. He's not going to sit with mean men. So that is the duty of the church. But the third one is also that we provide avenues for these things to happen. Churches, we have cooperatives, we bring people together, we encourage them, we teach them on how to go about these things themselves, because some people just lack information, they lack knowledge, and my people perish for lack of knowledge. So the church also have departments where these things are done. But finally, we also have arms that are welfaristic in nature. Widows' arms, orphans and vulnerable children. We have arms of the church that handle that area. But I can tell you, it is better to teach people how to fish than to give them fish. Because they are trying to make the church now a place for coming to get the fish. The church is insisting that we must teach them how to fish. So while we are giving them, they start learning how to fish. They don't keep being a beggarly congregation. A congregation that can stand up to their own, to the times and be able to respond to their own needs. Thank you.
All right. Show me a man who is diligent in his work. He will stand before kings and not mere men.
Amen.
My Lord Bishop, having heard what His Grace said, do you think that the family has failed or has played a contributory role to increasing poverty in the land?
Thank you. I want to first of all thank His Grace for giving me this opportunity to join him in this discourse, and thank also Aneke TV for the good work you are doing. I am thinking over some periods now, the emphasis of the church and society shifted from this family to wealth. There seemed to be a neglect of the role, the responsibility, the objectives of the family. And that's why it's like the church, the family, they are no longer living up to expectations. The man is busy, the wife is busy, the children are abandoned, and at the end, the byproduct affects the society. I remember the years back when we have institutions like the family circle that devote time to prepare young people who are going into homes. If you look carefully, decades back, a young man is not allowed just to pick up a woman on the street and marry. Marriage is between a community. If you want to marry, your community will decide, oh, do we marry from this area? And now you will see somebody on Facebook and you pick him or her up for marriage. Definitely, because the backgrounds are not strong. The byproduct of the marriage is not strong. That's why we can agree, and it seems as if there is a failure on the side of the family. And we can't lose hope and said, because the family have failed, everybody should raise their hands up in despair. But there is a serious campaign on trying now to conscientize the church, the family, on what should be their role in alleviating this noticed problem of the society. People are giving a lot of effort and input, trying to say, if you get it right at home, the society will be well. The scripture is very fundamental here. It says, train up a child in the way he should go. And you are sure, wherever he is or she is, she will maintain the accepted standards of the society. There's a decline because the home front is weak.
All right. The home front is weak. Okay. Anyway, I would want to explore further, but for want of time, let me get to the other issues, such as the 50th anniversary. We are aware that His Eminence, the prelate of the Methodist Church Nigeria, His Eminence Dr. Oliver Ali Abba, prelate of Methodist Nigeria, will be visiting.
Yes.
Can you speak to his visit and the impact?
Well, thank you very much. The President of Methodist Church Nigeria, His Eminence Dr. Oliver Ali Abba, will be visiting Enugu. The church, from time to time, our leaders come to see how we are doing and be sure that the bishops, the archbishops, this person is the topmost leader of the church, that the bishops and archbishops are doing well, and he will see, not just hear reports, he will see, he will touch, and be sure of how far the ministers are doing with their work. And this is what he is coming to do. But fortunately, this visit also came at a time when Enugu Archdiocese of Methodist Church Nigeria is celebrating her 50th year. It is not Methodist Church Nigeria in Enugu, it is Methodist Archdiocese. That when we turned Episcopal, we were created an archdiocese and diocese in 1975. And 75 to today is 50 years. So we're celebrating that anniversary. And it started by July. It is a two-month long celebration. Started July and will be ending by September with the visit of the prelate. The prelate will be arriving here tomorrow evening, really. And the program scheduled for his visit will include visiting of the 5 dioceses that make up the Archdiocese of Enugu. The Diocese of Enugu, the Diocese of Enugu Northeast, the Diocese of Oknano, the Diocese of Abani, and then the Diocese of Kegbe or Aniri. He'll be visiting those dioceses, and he will also have time to visit a few key members of the church on his arrival. But also, as part of our celebration of this anniversary, we have decided to take headlong this nagging issue of Eze Nwanyi, Okite, Eze Nwoke, and all these self-acclaimed prophets that are people who are not who call themselves into the ministry, and they are ruining the testimony of the church. For me, these so-called prophets who come to tell you the color of your pants and tell you the color of your trousers, of your singlets, they are people who are enchanters, who just came into the church and then using the scriptures and using the Bible, and they are doing magic, and the people tend to believe them more. And so they are weakening the witness of the church. Because after some time, people begin to discover that all these things they do are not actually the way Christ taught us. And they begin to pull back.
All right.
Now, so the prelate will lead us in a colloquium at the ICC, International Conference Center, on the 5th, coming Friday, on the 5th of September, by 10 o'clock. We have invited all traditional rulers, all religious leaders, we have the political class, the governor will be there. We have also invited the other four governors of the Southeast, because they have been doing something like the kind of battle that Soludo is fighting against Okite and Ezenwoke and Ezenwanyi, because of the insecurity they are occasioning in Anambra State. And I can say the insecurity they are occasioning in the entire Southeast. Because this Okite and Ezenwoke Ezenwanyi has led into kidnapping, organ harvesting, ritual murder, and so on and so forth. They have weakened even the culture of Ndigbo, the tradition of Ndigbo. Before, if you kill somebody, if you shed blood, you go on 7 years exile in Alibo. This day shedding blood, you will see on television or on your phone, somebody will just shoot an Igbo, will be speaking Igbo and shoot 3, 4, 5 persons. It never happened in Alibo, and it's all because of the weakening of the ethos of the Igbo man, all because of quest for money. They look for money to merchandise the church. They are failing. They have now gone into Okite and there's one. They've gone into the forest. They've started putting wrap around trees, worshiping what is created than the creator. And then somebody is promising them that if they shoot them, that they will not have guns penetrate them. All these deceptions because of money. And when they are not getting this money, they now tilt over to kidnapping, to organ harvesting, because they want money to feed that fancy. So we'll be dealing with this issue on Friday at the ICC. Everyone is invited. The civil society is invited. You, the media, you are invited to come and cover, because we're going to have very eminent people to lead the discussion. First, we're going to have the Bishop of the Catholic Church in Soka Diocese, Professor Godfrey Gwibikeona, will be there as a speaker. Professor Sam Amadi, an erudite scholar at the University of Abuja, will be there. And we're going to have also Professor Ambassador, His Royal Highness Ambassador Agobozo. He's going, the former immediate past chairman of the Traditional Rulers Council. He'll be also delivering a paper. After that, there's going to be a roundtable with all the politicians, the governors, where they're going to give their testimonies. And a person like Ozigbono himself, President Eze, wants to be there to give his testimony about his own wealth. Because people think that everyone who is rich now is either a ritualist or you are in one cult or the other, the man want to come and give his testimony. He said to me when I visited him, he's never visited a Dibia of his life. That was a mind-blowing testimony. Nobody would believe that. But he said to me, and he said it before traditional rulers and bishops, that he has never visited a Dibia all his life, and he's one of the richest men in Ndigbo. So it's going to be a very great one. Then on the 7th, Sunday, we're going to honor two men, very important men in this state. The chairman of the Local Government Services Commission, Chief Barrister Nobodo, will be given knighthood by the prelate. And then the National Secretary of the Police Services Commission, Chief Barrister Onyemuche will be made a knight, all at the Wesley Cathedral, one, just by Robinson Street. And everybody's invited to that service. It's going to be a high mass, so to say, for the prelate to mark his visit, but he's honoring these two men. After that, we'll be receiving the prelate on Monday, the 8th, just to thank you for visiting us. And then on Tuesday is gone. So it's going to be a loaded week for us. And I can tell you, the public is invited to be part of our joy. It is all in thanksgiving to God for the 50th anniversary of the Archdiocese of Enugu.
It's well packed, and we suppose that would be very impactful as well, going by the topics that will be selected for the event. However, my lord, as the chairman of the planning committee, is there more you want to add to what His Grace has said?
Oh, His Grace said it all, and we are very excited that Enugu Archdiocese has come of age, and we want the celebration to be loud, because we are also involved in shaping the society. That's why we are making effort to partner with the current issue His Grace has so elaborated. We want to be involved. We want to still encourage Igbos back to hard work.
All right.
We want to ensure that people earn honest living.
All right.
And the whole objective of both traditional religion and Christian faith is righteousness.
All right.
And if every action, whatever we call it as a resurgence, is not geared towards moral uprightness, it's not a return to our background. The Igbo traditional society was known for its honesty,
Hard work,
uprightness, and hard work. Any practice that is not taking us back to this ethos is a failure. We want to conscientize the Igbos and said, what we call return is a deviation. Can we look at exactly what the Igbo man believed in? And our tenants and the Christian tenants agrees. Because the scripture said, if you don't work, don't eat.
Yes. Okay. My lord, now that you've spoken about it, I was wanting to ask a question, but you've spoken eloquently about the impact and the need to move away from this renaissance we call return to traditionalism. However, I want to ask, I've listened to you speak, is there any special preparation to bring in the youths who are the forefront of this return to either nature or tradition?
That's why we are here, making use of the media, making use of the TV. Yes, today we are with the
Dream
session, and then we are going, our billboards are everywhere. We are inviting everybody,
on social media,
opinion leaders to come and listen to us. We want to engage. We want to start the discourse. It's not going to be an end, but we want to start it up so as people can engage. And then we begin to ask ourselves the questions, are we really returning to our roots? Or are we bringing things that are alien to the Igbo culture and ethos?
All right. I will throw this open, His Grace. We are talking about this issue. It's a menace in our society, really. Everyone will agree to that. But my question is, don't you think the church has played a part in driving, especially the youth, away from Christianity and the church?
Well, you know, I have always been very careful with um, defining current religious moves as the church. I told there are some people who are not called into ministry and they are hungry, they have nothing to do. Some of them are even proponents of raising Nwoke Nwanyi. But because they cannot do it in the bush, because the church has succeeded in letting people know that that thing they do in the bush is not right. They now brought their tool of trade into town. They have churches built, houses built. They hire warehouses. They put big microphones. That is why you are able to find scores of human beings buried in a place they call church. Those things are not church, for goodness sake. These are people who are also these evil men who now think that since people will not look for them in the forest, they can now come out, hide behind the veil curtain, and come out and do all sorts of things. So when we talk about the church as being part of it, then we want to say who is actually is the real church. The unfortunate thing is that church is not regulated, and people are kicking against regulating the church. Muslims are also kicking against being regulated. People don't want religion to be regulated. They want freedom of religion, and that is the constitution. But the truth is that people have misused, abused that situation, and evil men are now coming and answering church and watering down the real faith.
Honest, it's grace. Please hold on that thought.
Yes.
Thank you, viewers, for staying with us. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll continue on this issue. All right. You are still watching The Insight, the program where we bring you and analyze, x-ray the habits of politics, issues that shape our nation. And today, we are speaking with His Grace, Most Reverend Barrister Christopher Ede, the Methodist Archbishop of Enugu Archdiocese. And with him also on set is the Right Reverend Dr. C.C. Ekebisi, Bishop of Okunano, and Chairman of the 50th Anniversary Planning Committee of the Archdiocese of Enugu. His Grace.
Yes.
It's been wonderful speaking to you.
Thank you very much.
Now we are talking about issues that I know our viewers will be most interested in. We'll be mentioning Ezenwan, Ezenwoke as well. Please, can you throw a little light so that there are people who do understand or who do not are not able to understand the Igbo terminology Ezenwan or Ezenwoke?
Thank you. You know, to be honest with you, the issues of raising Nwoke Nwanyi is the matter of the moment because it is it is the craze now going on. In fact, if you are following the trend, there's a lot of battle now going on between the government and this is Nwoke in Anambra State. Here in Enugu State, the House of Assembly has held a plenary to discuss this matter and to find solution to it. Almost everywhere now, you see our young people going back to fetishism, and they call it going back to our roots. Now, it was good to listen to the plenary when they came to Enugu House of Assembly. Some DBS came, I mean, DBS that were rude herbalists, herbal doctors. They were trying to make a difference between them and this one is okay. That those that the DBS, those who call themselves, they were speaking against Ezewan and say that is not the culture, Igbo culture. That even the Igbo traditional religion abhors what they are doing. But you see, this because it is the quickest way to make money. You see, somebody will say he built a 5-star hotel from being Ezenwoke. Imagine that. And somebody will say she built a 5-star salon because she says in wine. And they print themselves, carry long cruisers, staff, because cruiser belongs to the bishops, long staff, and then with sounds, make noise, frighten the people, and reap them of their money. So this concept of raising work and raising wine actually is everybody. There's somebody who does not know. Thank God for social media. Social media has popularized it. In fact, it is driving our youths away from the church. They call the church a scam. They call Jesus a scam. A scam is what brought light to this country. It is the advent of the church that brought education. Advent of the church that brought true health. Advent of the church that brought light to this nation. And these boys are calling it a scam. They're calling Jesus their creator scam. And because they have sold their consciences to the devil, see the way they are perishing. They are dying untimely. They are dissuading hard-working young people from working hard and trusting their God to go back into fetish life and begin to use human parts. Imagine where organ harvesting has become a trade in our country. It's terrible.
Your Grace, now that you're speaking against this issue, what is the church doing? Because some may argue that it is the failure of government to provide the needful, the basics, that is increasing the rate of suffering and poverty in the land, thereby driving our young people into these practices.
I agree with you. It's a shame that you will see politicians, they will make money, they move it to UK, they will move it to Switzerland, they move it to America, they move all our wealth outside of this nation. They can't possibly establish ordinary factories that can engage it. Look, nobody who is gainfully employed will want to go into the forest for kidnapping. No. They know that it's a very tricky business that could end their lives. These things are poverty driven. That's why you talk about hardship. At the beginning of this program, I agree with you. It is a failure of government to provide a playing ground, a good playing ground for our young people to thrive. We have one of the most intelligent young people in the whole world. Nigerians outside this country are the best doctors, they're the best engineers, they're the best lawyers. Nigeria is a blessed nation. But because poverty, like we said, the government didn't give us a platform to survive. These young people are now using their brain negatively. This says it's a negative use of internet, because they tell you that you agree. They when they say the church is washing your brain, is resetting your brain, when they themselves are the ones that are actually terribly restating. 419 became known now because 419 was the beginning of restating of brain. Now they have not gone to Enugu Umu Nwanyi, and they are really restating the brain because they now promise you that this alloy that you are seeing here will, if you evoke it 7 times, money will come. Especially if you kill a virgin and hide a virgin in your house, and you call this house, will make the virgin give you money, vomit money for you. I imagine that. And somebody believes it. And these people, the problem with the Bible says those that worship worship the devil look like the devil himself. You see somebody who is promising you money, look at him. He's still in the 21st century wearing an anama. He's bare-bodied. Not his own children are still struggling, and they're promising you all the money in the world. You're accepting it. That is where the real insight is. But people, because when people touch on your roots, you tend to believe them more. Ibaja was at the heart of African traditional religion. Afa, Aja, Nsi. These things. So when they are returning these things, they tend to speak to the psyche, because that is where people started in the dark ages. And now that the light of the gospel has shone and people are out of it, when we tell our people, then it seem to resonate with what they have forgotten before, and they now come out to continue with it.
Grace, is there no line separating what we know as the traditional worship from which our forefathers started from before the advent of Christianity? Some would argue that there has been inculturation between our tradition and the church. What I'm asking is there no line separating the two for those practitioners of tradition and those who are involved in these practices that we're talking about?
I'd like Bishop to speak to this.
Your Grace and our presenter, thank you for that question. Let me start by saying that Africans are deeply religious. And if we must take it from that point, it will help us to understand these recent developments. We tend to interpret every activity around the lens of religion. And the manifestations, one of these signs we are seeing is not even starting now. You remember when we moved back to democracy, those people who were vying to be elected into political offices consulted mediums. We then read on papers where a serving governor, before you were sworn in or chosen as a commissioner, he will take you to an idol to covenant with the idol that you will be loyal. So this happened almost 30 years, 20 years before the emergence of these acclaimed prophets. The making of both traditional priest or Christian priest is not an overnight activity. The failure, and which is the main cause, is that people overnight will emerge without any formal training. If you are conversant with African traditional religion, you don't just become a priest. Somebody else will train you. Somebody else will teach you the ethos, the practice, the things you should not do to protect the sacredness of that institution. And because these things have been jettisoned both in the church and in the traditional setting, that there seems to be a confusion. What we are trying to call enculturation or inculturation is like, can we identify the good things in African traditional religion and project it? Like I said earlier, our ability to delineate the things we should cherish, to define the things we should cherish, honesty, both in the political circle, in the church circle, is lacking. And then, in trying to say, do we have a clear-cut difference? How do we must sit down together and ask ourselves, what is the main objective of religion? Brotherliness, love, peace, and development. Then, if I am in the business of stealing from you, bringing you together in the church and tell you things that is not going to help you succeed, and at the end you give me your money, have I succeeded? If I bring you to a shrine and make you commit your work to me and tell you lies, if you go outside of these shores, many of our Igbo brothers are locked up in cells because maybe a pastor has given them a holy oil to drink, and if you travel with anything on you, they will find you. Or maybe an one, whatever you call them, have given you a substance. And these things are failing. And our young people are being arrested, murdered in foreign lands. That's why the church is taking it headlong. But then, what should we do as a response? That's why we are bringing this discussion on the front burner. Said, can the elites, the politicians, everybody involved, can we gather together and begin to look critically at this problem? Can we restore the dignity of Ndigbo?
All right. All right. My Lord, being that there are those who call themselves to ministry, who seem to be at the forefront of propagating this deviation from the church doctrines and the scripture, do you think government should be encouraged to license the church as a way of checking such persons?
His Grace subtly mentioned it, and is currently an ongoing debate whether the churches and religions should subject itself to some level of regulations. But then I am thinking, both the academia, the academic world, is also not helping here. Because when you mention that our young people tend to return back to their roots, you discover people want to go to areas they don't have information on. We've not been able to provide solid study for these young people to tell them, look at exactly what our forefathers practiced. Look at the things they abhorred. Look at the things they cherished. So that if you are returning, you know exactly what you are returning to. For me, I will call on government to set up strong institutions that will discuss our past, that will educate the young generations. Like currently, there are some issues on return. Are you returning to something you know, or you are returning to invent the wheels? That is a gap, that is a lacuna, that we cannot read up our past. So for me, instead of talking about more on the government regulating, I will talk about more on education and providing available data.
All right. From all the exchange, it's obvious that the colloquium, this anniversary well packed. My Lord, let me give you time to speak to this anniversary and the colloquium.
I will also shift it back to my boss, because when the father is in the house,
It's grace.
yes.
Thank you. I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to use this medium to invite our friends, our well-wishers to be part of our celebration. We are very grateful to God that in spite of all the troubles that we have faced as a diocese, a large diocese, God led us these 50 years. And within the course of these 50 years, like every institution that are led by human beings, they are having hiccups here and there. But God was with us, and God is with us, and has brought us this far. That is why we're celebrating. And we invite everybody. We were all over Enugu on a road show. We have done our media chat, international press conference, which is everywhere. We have laid the dioceses in not competitions this time, but in some kind of performances, uh, religious performances like our young people, young preachers award. We have young preachers award for teenagers that we want to teach to be vocal in preaching the gospel. We've also done some recitation among, and then our women did their own programs. Now, what we are doing now this coming week is, this week beginning from tomorrow, is like the summation of everything we are doing, and we're inviting everybody to be there. The colloquium I have said is at the ICC. Thank God for the leadership of Peter Mba that gave us that place. It's beautiful. I was there yesterday, and believe me, I was also there. I was the one who prayed to commission the the bus terminals, and I can tell you, this is a disruptive leadership. I want to thank the governor for that. He will personally be present at the colloquium with other politicians, because this is the matter of the moment, and we're inviting everyone who is hearing me, whether you are an Okite or Ezenwany, come there. If you are a pastor or a bishop, come there. If you're a traditional ruler, come there. For a politician, because he has mentioned how politicians spearheaded this problem of going to consult mediums and going to swear to mediums before they take office. Come there. Let us all reason together as a people and save Ali Igbo. We are really deviating. God will help us. And I invite people also to the service of servants. It's going to be a great service. The preacher will be the priest himself. And I have told you that two very important sons of this state will be knighted. So we invite also Aneke TV and everyone to come, for all things are ready.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. You viewers, you've heard our discussion. You've heard every issues raised. It's now over to you. Let's hear your views. Let's know what you think about these issues that has been raised today. The issue of Ezenwany, Ezenwoke, and Okite. Let's get your opinion. Remember, your voice is important. And this is where we'll draw the curtain today on the insight. And who will be speaking with His Grace, Most Reverend Barrister Christopher Ede, the Methodist Archbishop of Enugu Diocese, and the Right Reverend Dr. C.C. Ekebisi, Bishop of Okunano Diocese.
Thank you very much. Everybody come. All things are ready for this anniversary and for the colloquium. Come. We are waiting for you. Thank you.
All right. So you viewers, don't forget to send us your opinion, what you feel, or the issues you think we should discuss next on our handle at Aneke TV on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and our phone numbers as well is open for you to send your opinion. Like I said, your voice matters. Thank you.